Epic takedown. Good morning, I hope everyone's well today. Thank you for watching as always. The MPs down in the Commons today have voted against a sleaze inquiry into two-tier Kia and what he knew and when he knew it about appointing the former Lord Mandelson as our ambassador to the United States.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
First things first, it was a whipped vote. This means that the MPs basically were going to be deselected and ejected from the party if they didn't vote in line with government policy. That's the first thing that you need to know. Second thing that you need to know is that there was 223 yeses to 335 noes. Essentially, Keir Starmer's threatening his MPs with deselection if they don't vote against an inquiry. So that's the situation that we're in. There are elections locally and in the devolved administrations in the next few weeks, and so some MPs voting against the party whip is a political stunt. They're doing it because they think that they can save their arses or help their local councillor buddies and keep them in jobs. That's going to fail. Now, what I want to show you is a speech by an MP from Ulster, Logan Valley, and her name is Sorcha Eastwood. So I'm going to play this now. She eviscerated the Labour Party and the front bench, and Keir Starmer, and it's a joy to behold. So I'm going to play the clip now, and I may pause it and comment as we go along. So I'm going to get into this now.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I just want to put two things on record here before I commence my remarks. So the Labour Party don't stand for election in Northern Ireland. We do not have elections next week or the week after. So everything I'm about to say has got absolutely nothing to do with a so-called political stunt, but everything to do with the integrity of this House. And by the way, I find patronising the context that we shouldn't be discussing these things because the government of the day want to get on with the cost of living. I have had 2 car bombs at the edges of my constituency in the last 5 weeks, so believe me, there are much bigger things that I would prefer to be talking about at this time. However, it is incumbent upon everybody in this House to make sure that everything we're doing is completely above board. Now, last week, I posed the question. I don't know why Mandelson was appointed. Prime Minister then said it was a mistake. But here's what I don't understand. Everything that was out there about Mandelson that would have been cause for concern was open source material.
This is the point. Everybody knew Mandelson was dirty, and this was information in the public domain. This MP is calling it completely correct. What they weren't anticipating is the Epstein file dump on X, formerly Twitter, and that's why they want Twitter shut down. It's nothing to do with CGI bikinis on the Prime Minister or women, and it's everything to do with them not controlling the narrative and having their dirty little secrets aired in public. That's exactly what it is about, and this MP is bang on the money. So I take my hat off to you, and we'll continue.
It was out there. Peter Mandelson wouldn't have survived the vetting for a kids' football club, and rightly so. And yet we're expected to believe from those benches that it's nothing to see here, we're going to do some process here and there, it's a bit of a hoo-ha, as if there's been a bit of opprobrium around an appointment of a local Rotary club. This is the government of the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland. And we need to make sure that everything that is done here has the trust and confidence of the people that we are sent to represent.
This is the point, and I've made this point several times, and I'll continue to make this point. They were very happy to be our representatives when they had control of the conversation, when there were no cameras in the House of Commons, and there was no proper scrutiny. They were very, very happy for free speech when everybody and their auntie didn't have a digital microphone to amplify their message across the interwebs. They were very happy with that. And now they cannot control the narrative, and they cannot control what we can and cannot see, and how the information is filtered out to the public. That's why they're pissed. That's why they want to shut us all down. That's why they want ever tighter controls on the interwebs. That is why. It's nothing to do with protecting children. Just like the digital ID, by the back door, is by making sure that under 16s are vetted online. Because how do you get around that? Well, you've got to prove your age, so it's a digital ID by the back door. But I digress. We'll continue.
One of the things that I'm really passionate about is people being able to get on in life. But if you look at the social mobility figures for the UK, they are declining steeply. And that should be a concern for us all. But don't worry about that. It seems to be jobs for the boys going great guns over the road there. Instead of a meritocracy, it's a chumocracy. And that is at the nub of this. We cannot get answers as to why this was done.
I will tell you, in my opinion, why it was done. Labour thought, when they got in, they could go back to the good old days of old Labour, where Mandelson was pulling the strings for the entire Labour Party all across the world with their dodgy deals in back boardrooms and whatnot, away from the public eye. They did not count on Mandelson being named for insider trading to a convicted paedophile, Jeffrey Epstein. They weren't counting on that coming out. That's how politics was done under New Labour, and the Tories continued it for 14 years. That is why he was appointed. They wanted to go back to the good old days of Labour cronyism as opposed to Tory cronyism. That is why we voted for Brexit. We want to get away from this. We need a new type of politics. It seems 10 years on, the corporates, the elites, the EU, which we're very much tied to, and our career class politician still haven't had the software updates. We're sick and tired of this bunk.
So what I'm asking today, will the real Prime Minister please stand up? Please stand up. Is it the man who wanted to tread lightly on our lives? Is it the man who promised a decade of national renewal? Is it the man who said that he was going to do things by the book and better? Because in my nearly 2 years here, I have not seen that. So I would ask people from across the way, and I want to commend the member for South Shields for her heartfelt words, because this should not be about party politics. This should be about doing the right thing. And I'm here as one member of my party, so I'm aware that I'm speaking from a place of privilege myself. But believe you me, there's a stink here, and the public smell it. And if we're serious about getting better in terms of making our constituents' lives better, in terms of proving that this place can deliver, well, every single person here today has a choice. Make the right one.
They didn't make the right one. They voted with their Prime Minister. We'll end this here. There's been people making a lot of hay regarding Rupert Lowe turning up to vote and voting for an inquiry into the Prime Minister, and Nigel Farage abstaining. Now, if you look at the figures, which I'll bring up again here, if you look at the figures, the vote wasn't close. It wasn't close. If Farage had attended, it wouldn't have mattered. Optics do matter. Optics do matter, though, and it is a bad show for Reform UK not to be voting every single one of their MPs for an inquiry into the Prime Minister. Now, Rupert Lowe was there, and he voted for the inquiry, so credit where credit is due. Now, what do you think? Do you think I'm calling this right? Do you think this MP from Ulster is speaking for all of us? Because I think she is. Well done, Northern Ireland. This MP is a keeper in my view. Now, if you like this video, give me a like, give me a subscribe, do all that great gravy, and I'll see you in the next video. You have a good day, and thank you for watching as always.